The halls of the Galactic Academy were silent as the name Era appeared on the main screen. She was the only human cadet in a training program made for elite alien warriors. The other cadets, tall, armored, and proud, watched her with amused smiles. She looked too small, too calm, too human. She won't last a minute. One of them whispered they gave her a 2% survival chance. Another laughed. Era heard them, but said nothing. Her face showed no emotion. She stood straight, hands behind her back, eyes fixed on the glowing door ahead. Inside that door was the first simulation. A test made to crush, break, or kill those who weren't ready. General Vecker stepped forward. He was a massive alien with 4 eyes and a voice like thunder. "Cadet, Heir of Earth," he said, "you are now entering the death run. Complete it, and you move forward. Fail, and you leave in pieces." "I understand," she said softly. One of the instructors leaned close to the general. "Why even let her in? She'll die." Vecker's eyes narrowed. "Because Earth requested it, and because I want to see what 2% looks like." The door slid open. Era walked inside without hesitation. The death run was a brutal landscape of traps, collapsing platforms, shifting gravity, and hostile drones. The moment she entered, the system activated. Lasers rained from above. Walls moved to crush her. Ground fell away beneath her feet. Everything was designed to make her fail. But Era didn't panic. She moved fast, but smooth, as if she had seen it all before. She ducked, jumped, rolled, and twisted at angles no one thought possible. A laser grazed her shoulder. "Slow down." Her eyes scanned the arena like a machine, calculating, predicting dot outside. The alien cadets stopped laughing. "Did she just dodge all the turret rounds?" one asked, leaning forward. "Wait, she just passed Phase 2. No one passes. Phase 2 on their first try." Inside, Era reached the final section. A massive metal beast stood before her, programmed to attack with full force. It roared and charged. Era stood still. The beast ran faster. Then, right before it struck, she moved slightly to the side. The beast missed and crashed into the wall. Sparks flew. The simulation froze. Silence.aira walked calmly to the exit. Her body was covered in dust, but her eyes were calm. When she stepped out, the room fell silent. General Vecker stared at her. "How?" he asked. She looked at him and said, "You gave me a 2% chance. I just wanted to see what the other 98% was for." The silence cracked. One cadet clapped slowly. Then another. Then the room erupted in noisome clapped. Others growled in anger. A few just stared back in the locker room. A tall alien cadet named Vorn approached her. His skin was armored in blue, his eyes sharp. "You got lucky," he said. Era glanced at him. "Maybe." He leaned closer. "Luck runs out." She met his eyes. "So do threats." Vorn's jaw tightened, but he said nothing more. Later that evening, the cadets gathered for dinner. Most tables were filled with laughter and stories of home planets. Era sat alone. She wasn't trying to fit in. She was watching. From the command center above, General Vecker watched her through a screen. One of his officers spoke, "Sir, her reactions are beyond normal. We ran a scan. Her mind operates faster under pressure." "She's hiding something," the general said. The officer nodded. "Should we investigate?" "Not yet," Vecker replied. "Let the next test speak." The next morning, the second trial was announced, Mind Endurance. It was a psychic maze that could break the mind of any cadet unprepared. Illusions, fears, twisted memories that showed you your worst thoughts and made them real. Cadets were called in one by one. When it was Era's turn, no one spoke. She stepped into the chamber, and the machine closed around her. A glass dome covered her head, and the screen lit up. Waves of psychic energy flooded her brain. Nightmares began. She saw fire, a ruined earth, screams, shadows pulling her down, her hands covered in blood. A child's voice crying out, a man's voice whispering, "You failed them all." Most cadets screamed at this point. Some fainted. Others begged for it to stop. Era didn't move. Her breathing stayed calm. After 10 minutes, the machine shut down. The screen blinked. No data. She broke it. The technician asked in disbelief. "No," said the other. She didn't resist. She accepted everything. When Era stepped out, the entire academy seemed to pause. Is she even human? A cadet whispered. She didn't flinch. Later that night, Vorn approached her again. This time, he was quieter. What are you? Ira was eating quietly. She didn't look up. A reminder of what? He asked. She smiled faintly. That fear doesn't always come from the strong. Sometimes it comes from the ones you underestimated. Vorn walked away, shaken. Meanwhile, General Vecker held a secret meeting with the top instructors. She's passed 2 of the deadliest tests without breaking a sweat, he said. Earth didn't send a student, they sent something else. One of the instructors asked, should we remove her? No, the general said. Let her keep going. Let the galaxy see what Earth creates when it's quiet for too long. Back in her quarters, Era stood at the window, looking at the stars. Her fingers tapped a silent code on her wrist device. A tiny hologram appeared Earth's symbol. A message flashed. Observe, survive, awaken phase. 2, if needed. She tapped it off. A voice behind her spoke. You're not really here to train, are you? It was Vorn again. No, she replied. Then what are you doing? She turned around, her eyes glowing faintly for just a moment, measuring how scared the galaxy is. When a human stops, pretending, Vorn took a step back. Era walked past him without another word. That night, rumors spread like wildfire. Some said she was a weapon. Others said she was a spy. But no one dared to mock her survival rate again, because now, the 98% was afraid of the 2. The Academy changed after Era survived the death run and the mind endurance test. Her name spread like fire through the halls. Cadets whispered about her, instructors watched her. Commanders rechecked her records again and again. Made sense, she had no family listed, no background beyond the words Earth representative. Her test scores were too perfect, and her reactions faster than any recorded human dot in the main hall. Where cadets gathered for morning orders, Vorn stood with his team. He was quiet now. He had watched her fight, watched her survive what no one else could. Something about her unsettled him. She's not normal, one of his teammates said. No one passes both trials without a scratch. Vorn nodded. I know. That's why I'm going to find out what she really is. Era entered the room, and silence followed. Her like a shadow. She didn't look left or right. She stood at attention.com as ever. Her eyes didn't show fear, not even curiosity. Commander Trin walked in with 2 guards. He was smaller than General Vecker, but sharper, colder. Today's trial is teamwork, he said. 5-person squads. You either pass together or you all fail. The challenge was called the Crater Run, a live battlefield simulation with falling debris, active gunfire, collapsing tunnels, and explosive traps. It was designed to test trust and timing. Most cadets trained months for it. Commander Trin looked directly at Era. You'll be assigned to Squad 9. They've never passed. Maybe you'll be their miracle. Squad 9 stepped forward for aliens who looked anything but happy. This is a joke, one of them said. She'll slow us down. She won't even keep up, another added. Era just nodded. Then keep up with me. They laughed. The doors opened. Smoke filled the air. Sirens blared. The Crater Run had begun. Inside the field was chaos. Shaking, ground, fire from the sky. Mechanical drones flew overhead, scanning and attacking. Squad 9 moved fast, ducking behind cover. Era didn't run with them. She walked forward, scanning everything. One of the cadets yelled, "Get down, you'll be hit." She ignored him. A drone targeted her. Red lights blinked, but the moment it fired, Era rolled, kicked a piece of metal into the air, and it struck the drone mid-shot. The machine exploded. Others stared. How did she? Don't stop, Era shouted. Move while it's down. The squad followed her this time. She led them through collapsing tunnels, across fire zones, and over broken bridges. Every trap she dodged seemed like she had seen it before. Every move she made kept them alive. At one point, a massive turret locked onto their position. The squad ducked, preparing for death. But Era didn't move. She picked up a loose wire from the ground, tied it to a broken pipe, and tossed it across the turret's sensor beam. It overloaded instantly and exploded. How do you know this stuff? One cadet asked, panting. Era didn't answer. They made it to the extraction point in record time. For the first time in Academy history, Squad 9 passed. Outside the chamber, General Vecker watched the screen in silence. She led them, one instructor said. Didn't just survive, she commanded. She made losers pass, another added. General Vecker turned to his officer. Send a message to Earth. I want her mission file, uncut back in the dorm. Squad 9 celebrated, but not with her. Ira returned to her room alone. She stared at the ceiling, hands behind her head. THINK, knock came at the door. She opened it to see Vorn. You watched the whole thing, she said. I did, he replied, and you don't belong here. No, she said. I don't, he stepped closer. Then tell me what you are. She looked at him for a long moment, then turned her back. You wouldn't believe me. Try me. She faced him again, voice soft. I'm not here to win. I'm here to see who survives when they lose. He frowned. What does that mean? She walked past him. It means you should start watching the instructors, not me. Later that night, a coded signal left the academy through a hidden channel. It was traced to Earth. The data sent back was encrypted and labeled Eyes Only, Omega Tier. But someone inside the academy decrypted it. The message was simple. Do not interfere with Subject Era. She is not a student. She is the test. In a hidden lab beneath the academy, Commander Trin met with 3 instructors. She's manipulating the system, one said. She's passing tests faster than anyone in history. She's not even reacting under stress. Another added. Commander Trin tapped the message file. She's not here to learn. She's here to see how far we go. You think sent her to spy on us? No, Trin said. Worse, I think she's watching how we break. The next day, things changed. Era was moved to solo combat. Evaluation attest, no cadet took this early. The opponent was a high-tier war machine, 10 feet tall, armed with plasma blades and sonic cannons. No one had ever defeated it. As she entered the arena, the instructors whispered, She's going to die in there. Good, maybe that'll end the fear. The machine activated, loud, fast, and deadly. It charged her without warning. Era didn't. Blink. She ducked beneath the blades, flipped over its back, and dropped a grenade under its core. It exploded, shutting the machine down in 10 seconds. The observers stared. How she didn't even warm up. General Vecker stood slowly. She's not just a soldier, she's something designed. Later that evening, one of the instructors cornered her. You're hiding something. She looked at him calmly. So are you. What do you want from us? He asked. She stepped closer, voice cold. Nothing. But if Earth wanted you gone, you'd never see it coming. The instructor stepped back. The fear in the academy was growing. Cadets didn't speak to her. Instructors watched her every move. But no one dared to challenge her again. Someone disappeared. Cadet Larn, a powerful alien warrior known for bullying humans, vanished overnight. Last seen near Era's training field, his gear was found, burned. No body, no trace. When asked, Era said nothing, but her silence felt louder than any answer. Commander Trin stood in the dark that night, looking out the window. She's changing the academy, he said to himself. General Vecker stepped beside him. No, she's revealing it. What do we do? Nothing yet. We watch her while she watches all of us. And deep in her room, Era opened her wrist device again. A mother message appeared. Phase 1, complete. Awaiting orders, she smiled for the first time. And somewhere, Earth was watching back. The academy lights flickered under a cloudy red sky as storm shields activated across the outer dome. Most cadets stayed inside their halls, training in silence. But something deeper had changed. Fear. Not the fear of war, not fear of failure. It was the fear of one person. AIRA. She had passed every test, dodged every trap, defeated every machine, and she did it without ever raising her voice, without even breaking a sweat. But fear has a strange way of growing. It starts with a whisper, then a question, then someone wants to prove it wrong. And that someone was Vorn. He was the strongest alien cadet in the entire academy. He came from a warrior species known for brutal strength, born on a world of storms and lava. His people didn't fear war, they lived in it, and he was tired of seeing Era walk through tests like a ghost. She's playing with us, Vorn said. To his team, it's time someone pushed back. One of his friends looked unsure. She passed the death run, beat the mind maze, shut down the combat machine, Vorn growled. That's why I'll break her where it matters most. In front of everyone. The Academy's combat hall was usually silent between tests, but this day it was packed. Word had spread. Vorn had issued a public challenge, a one-in-one match, him against the human cadet. You know it's not required, Commander Trin told him. You don't have to do this. Vorn didn't look away from the arena. I do. What's your reason? Vorn's eyes burned, to remind everyone who we are, and what she's not. Era stood on the far side of the arena, calm as ever. She didn't look surprised, didn't ask questions. She only said one thing before stepping forward. Don't regret this. The rules were simple. No weapons, no interference, and full contact until surrender or unconsciousness. The crowd was loud. Most were cheering for Vorn. Some watched silently, unsure what they really wanted. Stout voice announced .vorn moved first, fast, brutal. He swung his arm toward her face with enough force to crack stone, but she wasn't there. Era had. Stepped to the side, no fear in her eyes. Vorn followed with a kick, then a spin, then another strike. But every time, she moved just enough to not be hit. She wasn't dodging wildly. She was reading him, predicting him, studying him, and Vorn knew it. He roared, rushing at her full speed. Era stood still. Just before he reached her, she lifted one. Hand, two, fingers, no punch, no hit, just, 2 fingers pressed to his neck. And Vorn collapsed. His legs gave out. His breath left him. His muscles froze. The entire arena gasped. No one had ever beaten Vorn. No one had ever touched that pressure point. He lay there, breathing hard, eyes wide in shock. Era leaned close and whispered something only he could hear. Then she walked away. No victory speech, no smile, just silence. The match was over. The Academy was shaken after the fight. Vorn sat in the medical bay, shaking his head. Commander Trin entered. What did she say to you? Trin asked. Vorn looked up slowly. She said, I already lost the moment. I thought this was about strength. Trin stayed quiet. Vorn continued. She could have crushed me, but she didn't. She wanted me to understand something. Understand. What? That this place isn't testing her? She's testing us. The command center reviewed the fight footage. The instructors were speechless. One paused the video frame by frame. Era's movements were beyond reflex. She moved before Vorn moved, almost like she already knew what was coming. General Vecker watched in silence. She's predicting the future. One officer said, No, Vecker replied. She's seen this before, or she was made to see it. Should we confront her? Not yet, Vecker said. She just broke our strongest cadet without lifting a fist. If she wanted to destroy this place, she already would have. That night, Era walked the halls alone, until she reached the back of the Academy, a quiet chamber, the archives. She placed her hand on a locked panel. It scanned her prints. Denied, she pulled out a small metal pin and tapped it against the lock. The door opened. Inside, glowing walls held records from across the galaxy maps, weapon designs, species data. She walked past them all until she found the folder marked Extinct Civilizations. She tapped it open. A list appeared. One name glowed red. Sol 7, Earth. She stared at it. Behind her, a voice spoke. You broke the rules. It was VORN. AIRA didn't turn around. I'm not here to play by rules, she said. He walked closer. Why are you here? She looked at him now, truly looked at him, to make sure the next time you see Earth's name, it won't say extinct. Vorn frowned. What are you saying? Era's voice grew quiet. Your leaders think humans are weak, that we're done, that Earth is peaceful now, and it's not. She smiled coldly. Earth hasn't been peaceful since the stars tried to erase us. Vorn stepped back. That file, it says Earth is gone. That's what we wanted the galaxy to believe, Era whispered. He stared at her. Then what are you? Era's eyes burned like fire. I'm a message. The door closed behind them, sealing the archive. Later, General Vecker received an alert. Someone had entered the classified section when he saw the access logs. His hand tightened. It was her again, the officer said. But someone went with her this time, Vecker asked. Who? Cadet Vorn, the general sighed. Then it's begun. What has the real test? The next morning, a new announcement echoed through the halls. All cadets will report to full combat alert status. A training drill has been escalated to red level, effective immediately, but it wasn't a drill, not really, and Ira knew it. As the sirens rang and cadets rushed to gear up, she stood still. Vorn found her. Was this you? He asked. No, she said, but it's the answer to what? To the question no one's asked yet. Vorn nodded slowly. What question? Era looked out the window at the rising ships. What happens when Earth finally replies? Morning drills began, like always, with cadets marching to their assigned fields. Dull steel walls echoed with boots and commands, but today the air felt heavier. It wasn't the heat or the pressure. It was something else. Everyone was talking. About one thing. AIRA. Rumors spread faster than fire. She had beaten the Academy's strongest cadet without a weapon. She had walked into a death arena and returned untouched. She had moved like she knew the future, and now, some cadets wondered if she came from it. But no one said anything to her face. She walked among them in silence, her steps quiet, her posture calm. Not proud, not afraid, just focused. Today's test was different. Commander Trin stood before the assembled cadets with a cold stare. Today's simulation is live combat evaluation. He said, against rogue class enemy A is real attack patterns, real danger, zero mercy. The room, tense, had continued. Each cadet will enter with full armor and weapons. The goal, survive and neutralize at least 3 AI threats. He looked at Ira, except her. The cadets turned. She entered without armor, without a weapon, Trin said. A murmur spread across the room. Some gasped, some smiled, expecting to see her fail at last. She's going to die. One cadet whispered. Era simply stepped forward and nodded once. I accept. The arena was built like a war zone, burnt terrain, broken buildings, smoke rising from metal ruins. Inside waited the rogue AI units, machines that once served peace but were now corrupted. Fast, smart, and violent. Cadets watched from the observation room as Era stepped through the gates, empty-handed, without protection. The A is activated. 3. Mechanical forms dropped from above, armed with plasma blades and spike cannons. Their sensors locked onto her instantly. They moved fast, faster than any living being. Era didn't run. She walked forward. 1A I launched a blade toward her chest, but she ducked, twisted, and stepped behind it. In one fluid move, she grabbed a fallen pipe from the ground and jammed it into the machine's spine. It sparked and collapsed. The second AI fired its cannon. Era flipped sideways, using rubble to block the shot. Then she jumped onto a broken wall, pushed off it, and landed on the machine's back. She ripped open a panel and crushed its power. Core, with one precise strike, the third AI adjusted its strategy. It tried to calculate her movements. She stopped moving. She stared at it. The AI hesitated. Then it stepped back in the observation room. Cadets leaned in. It's afraid. That's impossible, an instructor said. It has no fear protocols. But the machine didn't attack it, backed away slowly, almost respectfully. Then Era stepped forward. Just once, and the AI shut itself down. The arena went silent. The doors opened. She walked out, unharmed. General Vecker stood watching from above. He said nothing, but his eyes narrowed. She beat the simulation without a weapon. The officer beside him whispered, No, Vecker replied. She turned the weapon into an observer. Down in the locker room, Vorn waited for her. You didn't even fight, he said. I did, she replied. He looked confused. Then what did you do? I showed. Them, she said, what it feels like to be human, to face something you can't control, and make it blink. Vorn stared at her, unsure whether he felt proud, scared, or both. Later that night, the Academy released a report. Cadet Ira. Simulation passed with exceptional strategy. Weapon use, 0 injury, 0. Cadets whispered even more now. They watched her with wide eyes. Some stopped training when she entered the room. Others lowered their voices. The Academy didn't know what to do with her. She had become the ghost. They couldn't control. Instructors met in secret. She's making. The others questioned the tests. She's shaking their confidence. She's breaking tradition. Commander Trin shook his head. She's not breaking anything. She's showing them the truth that all their strength means nothing if it can't stop her. That night, someone broke into her quarters. They tried to inject her with a memory toxin, a mind wipe agent used on dangerous prisoners, but when they entered the room, she wasn't there. Only a message on the wall. "You think I sleep?" The attacker was never found. Security logs were erased. The only clue was a whisper from the guards. Her eyes, they were glowing. In a hidden room below the academy, General Vecker studied her file again. "Why would Earth send her?" he asked. No one answered. "She's not learning from us," he continued. "She's teaching us, one lesson at a time." "What do we do?" an officer asked. "We increase the pressure," Vecker said. "Push her further. If she breaks, she's still human." He didn't finish the sentence. The next day, she was called in alone. The briefing room was dark. The air-cold Commander Trin sat across from her. "You're not a student, are you?" She didn't answer. "You've seen war before," he said. "Maybe more than us." Still silent, he leaned forward. "You could break every cadet here in minutes." Her eyes met his. "I could break more than that." Trin smiled. "Then why haven't you?" She stood because Earth is patient. He nodded slowly. "Then tell me the truth. What are you really doing here?" She walked to the door, paused, and said, measuring the cost of fear. The door closed behind her. Later that evening, every monitor in the academy flashed the same warning: unknown signal detected origin, Earth level Omega. The command center went red. Ships, powered up. Defense systems locked in, and somewhere in the sky, something was coming. Era stood alone on the roof, watching the stars. A soft voice whispered from her wrist device. Phase 2 confirmed. Didn't smile. She didn't move. She simply whispered, "It begins now." And behind her, the entire galaxy started to feel uncertain. Lightning flashed across the domed sky as warning sirens echoed through the academy halls. It was just a simulation, a scheduled drill to test emergency response, but the tension in the air was real. The cadets rushed into formation. Instructors barked orders, and commanders watched closely from above. But one person didn't move. Era stood still in the middle of the panic, calm and silent. She looked up at the artificial clouds and then lowered her gaze, as if she already knew how this would end. General Vecker watched her from the command tower. "Initiate the scan," he said. Commander Trin nodded. "Are you sure she'll allow it?" "She doesn't need to allow it," Vecker said. "The scan will begin whether she agrees or not." Deep below the academy, hidden from the cadets, a room glowed with blue light. This was the neural core lab where minds were studied, memories were read, and thoughts could be mapped. They called it harmless. They said it was just for research. But this time, it was a trap. Era was summoned, too. Guards escorted her through the winding steel corridors. She didn't resist. She didn't ask questions. She simply followed. When she entered the lab, a group of scientists stood behind thick glass, watching her. "Sit." One of them said, "She did." A device was lowered over her head, halo of sensors and glowing circuits. "This will scan your mind," the lead scientist said. "It won't hurt. Just relax." Era didn't blink. The scan began. At first, everything looked normal. Brainwaves, memory pulses, neural paths all clean. Then the screen started to flicker. "Is that normal?" one assistant asked. The scientist replied, "Her mind just changed rhythm. It's accelerating like it's reacting to us, scanning it." Suddenly, the data stream glitched. One by one. The monitors shut off. Then the central system screamed, "Warning! Feedback detected. Subject is viewing source." "What does that mean?" another scientist shouted. "She's seeing us." The lead whispered, "She's not being scanned. She's scanning us." Inside the room, Era's eyes began to glow faintly. Blue, calm, code. The machine sparked. Systems overloaded. The main console exploded in a flash of light. Guards rushed in, but Era was still seated. Untouched, the scan had failed. She stood up slowly. "I warned you," she said quietly. One scientist backed away, terrified. "What are you?" She looked at him. "The reason you fear your own machines." Outside, General Vecker received the report. The scan was reversed, the officer explained. She broke the system from the inside. Did we get anything? Vecker asked. No, but we think she took something from us. Like what? Our method? Our process? Maybe even our memories? General Vecker stared at the blinking red report. Then we've made a mistake. Back in the upper halls, cadets stared at Era as she passed. No one spoke. She had become more than strange. She had become untouchable. Vorn met her at the edge of the training grounds. What happened in the lab? He asked. She looked at him with tired eyes. They wanted to read my mind. They didn't realize it reads back. He stepped closer. You're not just strong. You're not just smart. There's something inside you. Era turned toward him. There's something inside everyone, Vorn. The difference is, mine was let out by Who Earth, she said. And they were very careful about it. That night, in the Academy's archive room, Vorn accessed his old homeworld records. He searched Earth public data only. He found a single note in the Galactic database. Earth is quiet, peaceful, low activity, no threat. Then he compared it to the old war logs, the ones most cadets never bothered to read. They told a different story. Earth had survived 5 extinction events in less than 200 years. Alien invasions, internal collapse, bioplagues, artificial superintelligence, and each time, humanity survived. Not because they were stronger, because they were smarter when broken. He stared at the screen, shaking his head. This was never a peaceful world. It was just patient. Back in her room, Era activated her wrist device again. Another message appeared. Phase 2 engaged. Prepare for extraction. But before she could respond, the screen blinked red. Unauthorized. Access detected. Suddenly, the lights in her room shut off. The door locked itself. She stood up, alert. A voice came from the walls. Subject Era, stand down. You are under arrest for unauthorized access, illegal memory shielding, and system interference. She didn't speak. 3 guards entered, heavily armed with pulse cannons and stun rods. She raised her hands slowly. You should leave, one guard laughed. You think we're afraid? She stepped forward once. No, I think you're trained to follow orders, but your body hasn't caught up to your fear yet. The guards hesitated. Then one fired. The pulse hit Era square in the chest and stopped. It hung in the air suspension, then reversed. It flew back into the barrel and exploded. The guard was thrown backward. Unconscious, the other 2 dropped their weapons and ran. When the door opened, Era stepped out, unharmed. General Vecker was already waiting in the hallway. You've crossed every line, he said. No, she replied. I just showed you how thin the lines were. He looked tired. Why are you really here? She paused, then answered with calm honesty. Because Earth knew one day the galaxy would get curious. And when that day came, we wouldn't send a warning. We'd send a mirror. Vecker stared at her. A mirror to show you exactly what you look like when you underestimate the wrong species. Behind her, cadets gathered, watching in silence, not cheering, not mocking, just watching, some with fear, some with awe, all with questions. Vecker turned away. Then I hope you're ready, Hera. For what? He looked over his shoulder. For what comes when the galaxy decides you're too dangerous to exist. She nodded. Once, let them come. That night, the stars outside the Academy blinked. Not with light, but with ships. Dozens, maybe hundreds. A fleet was arriving. Not enemy, not allies, observers. They had picked up the signal from Earth, and they were coming to see what humanity had sent into the stars. Era stood at the edge of the observation deck. The Academy floated quietly beneath her, but far above dark shapes began to form. Not stars, not storms. Ships, huge, silent, cold ships. They didn't come with weapons drawn. They didn't send demands. They didn't fire. They just watched. General Vecker stood beside her, arms crossed. His voice was low. They're here for you. She nodded. I know. Vorn walked in, panting. Every channel is jammed with requests. The High Council wants an explanation. The Outer Rings sent scouts. The Dravok Empire allies just sent a message asking what kind of human you are. Vecker looked at him. What did you tell them? Vorn swallowed. I told them the truth. Era glanced at him. That's dangerous. They're scared, Era. And not because you attacked, but because you didn't. Silence followed. Outside the dome, one of the ships activated a light beam scan. It passed slowly across the academy like a silent eye. "They're not here to fight," Era said. "They're here to study." General Vecker narrowed his eyes. "Or to decide." "Decide what?" "If you should be removed." "Before it's too late." Era didn't answer. Instead, she turned away and began walking toward the training center. The air inside was tense. Cadets didn't whisper anymore. They didn't mock her. They didn't even make eye contact. They just moved aside. She reached the center mat and stood still. "Simulation room, open," she commanded. The system responded. "Simulation, Galaxy Warfile. Level, Elite. Environment, no allies. Survival rate, 2%. Era smiled. "Run it." The lights dropped. The room exploded into sound and motion. The galaxy unfolded around her, burning planets, crashing fleets, storms of fire and data. Enemies closed in from every side. They had numbers, they had weapons, they had precision, and Era had only herself. Outside the room, Vorn and a few instructors watched on a live monitor. "No one survives that sim." One of the older trainers muttered. "It's designed to break you." "She's not like us," Vorn said. "She doesn't try to win. She just doesn't accept losing." Inside, Era moved like a ghost through explosions. Every motion was calculated. Every enemy movement anticipated. She didn't block. She redirected. She didn't destroy everything. She made them destroy themselves. 47 minutes later, the sim froze. Result: survived. All enemies neutralized. Total time: 0 hours 47 minutes and 12 seconds. The room went silent. No cadet had ever passed that level. It was supposed to be impossible. Era stepped out, face calm, eyes unreadable. "Why did you do that?" Vorn asked softly. "To show them," she said. "Show who?" Era looked up toward the sky. The ones watching. That night, a meeting was held inside the command tower. Holograms of leaders from 12 systems appeared. The council had gathered. They demanded answers. What is this human cadet really capable of? Why was Earth allowed to send someone like her? Did you know about her abilities? Vecker stood at the center, facing them all. "She has not broken any law," he said. "She broke a neural scanner." One voice shouted, "She survived a level meant to simulate galaxy-wide extinction." Another accused, "And your point?" Vecker replied, "She didn't cheat, she didn't run. She walked into every test you gave and simply didn't fail." A new voice spoke, Tom, quiet but firm, a Dravok war advisor. "If one human can survive the impossible, what happens? When there are more?" Everyone paused. Then another voice spoke, alien, crackling, robotic. "Earth has remained quiet for too long. Perhaps this was their strategy all along. Send one," someone muttered. "Just one, not a threat, a test." Era walked into the chamber. Then she wasn't invited. But no one stopped her. "I'll answer your questions," she said. The council turned toward her. "Do you possess illegal technology?" One asked. "No," she replied. "Everything I use comes from my own training and memory. Nothing stolen, nothing hidden." "Then how do you do what you do?" Era stepped forward. "Earth doesn't build warriors, it builds survivors. And we survive by learning how you think, how you act, and how you expect us to fail." Another council member leaned forward. "Why now? Why send you now?" Era met his gaze. "Because for 300 years, Earth listened. We watched. And we waited. You spoke of peace while building weapons. You made alliances while secretly planning invasions. You called Earth weak because we didn't respond." She stepped into the center of the light. "But weakness isn't silence, and survival isn't surrender." Vorn watched her from the back. Heart pounding, the council didn't speak. For a moment, it felt like time had stopped. Then one voice whispered, "What are you really?" Era turned her head slowly. "I'm the answer to a question you were too afraid to ask." Outside the station, the ships continued watching, but one broke formation. It began to descend. Low, closer, closer still. The entire academy froze. "Identify that ship," Vecker shouted. "It's not in the registry," a technician replied. "Not ours, not council." Vorn looked at AIRA. She didn't move. The ship hovered just above the landing platform, and then it opened, A single figure stepped out, humanoid, but armored in black chrome, eyes glowing like stars. Era walked toward it. Vecker called out, "Do you know who that is?" "Yes," Era said. "From Earth," she nodded. "Not just Earth, from before Earth." No one understood what that meant. Not yet, but the figure approached, face hidden behind a mask. When it reached Era, it stopped. Then it bowed slightly, acknowledged. It said, Era returned the bow. "Sequence complete?" "What sequence?" Vecker asked. The figure turned toward him. This was not a mission. It was a test. A test of what? To see if the galaxy still recognizes danger before it's too late. Era looked at the silent council above. "And your answer?" Number 1 spoke. Then the Dravok War Advisor finally replied, "We recognize it now." The silent armored figure stood beside Era as the winds from its massive ship howled across the landing platform. Its black chrome armor reflected the stars above, and every eye in the Academy was locked on it. None dared move. None dared breathe. Too loud. General Vecker stepped forward. "Who are you?" The figure's voice was low and mechanical. "I am called the Sentinel." Vorn whispered to Era. "What does that mean?" She answered without turning. "It means he's not from this galaxy." The Sentinel's head turned slowly. "I was sent long ago to observe from the edge of existence." To wait for a signal, Vecker's voice tightened. "What signal?" The Sentinel pointed at Era. Her. Murmurs echoed through the observation deck. "You came for her?" One council voice asked through a hologram. "Why?" She completed. "The protocol." No one understood. Era stepped forward. "Earth has secrets. Even we didn't know them all. But long ago, during Earth's darkest age, someone placed a hidden code in our DNA. A key, a challenge. It waited in till someone met its condition." General Vecker narrowed his eyes. "And what was the condition?" "To survive when no one believed we could," Era said. "The 2%, Vorn whispered. "Yes," she nodded. "That number wasn't just a test, it was the key." The Sentinel turned to the sky. The survival threshold was passed. The gate opened. "And now we must act." "Act how?" Vecker demanded. The Sentinel raised one arm. A blue hologram of the galaxy appeared, spinning slowly. Then several red dots lit up across it. "These systems," he said, "have been watching Earth for centuries, preparing for its end. But they didn't understand. Earth was not meant to expand through war. It was meant to evolve through resistance." He looked back at Arif. "She is not Earth's soldier. She is its signal flare," the council began. To argue, some denied the claim. Others demanded verification. But Era remained calm. "Why reveal yourself now?" asked one of the council leaders. "Because the experiment is over," the Sentinel said. "The data is complete. Now we take action." "Action," Orn repeated. "Yes," the Sentinel replied. "The balance is broken, and Earth is no longer hiding." Suddenly, a loud alert echoed across the Academy. Radar systems lit up. Incoming ships. Dozens, no hundreds. "What?" Vecker turned to the control team. "Show us." The main screen lit up with a storm of human ships. Sleek, silent, moving in formation with strange movements, and no known ID codes. "They don't match any Earth design we know." Someone shouted. "That's because they're not from Earth's governments," Era said. "They're from the archive." "The what?" "Earth's forgotten arm," the Sentinel answered. "Hidden deep in the shadows of your own stars. Built by those who believed humanity should never kneel again." The lead ship stopped just above the Academy. A symbol flashed across its hull. Not a flag, not a military badge. A single burning equation the survival code Era had unlocked. Suddenly, communications across the galaxy were flooded with one repeating message. "Humanity has passed its trial. The countdown has begun." The council panicked. "What countdown? What is this?" Era turned calmly. "The survival challenge wasn't just for me. It was for Earth. If we proved we could beat death when only 2% of hope remained, then it meant we were ready." "Ready for what?" Vecker asked, voice sharp. "To lead," she answered. "Not by force, but by proof." The Sentinel nodded. "This galaxy values power. But power without purpose leads to extinction. Earth was given a final test, and your systems, your leaders, mocked that test. They tried to crush it, but it survived. Vorn's voice was a whisper. So what happens now? The Sentinel pointed at the Council. They must choose. The Council demanded an explanation. Era walked into the middle of the light again. You taught us how small we were, she said. How weak, you laughed. You tested us. You gave me 2% to live. But here I stand, not because of your numbers, but because of what Earth really is. Becker clenched his jaw. And what is that? She smiled. Earth is where the end begins for those who try to break us. At that moment, the lead archive ship opened. From it descended a new kind of drone, one, not built for war, but for witnessing. It floated above the crowd and projected Era's simulation victory for all systems to see, to her every move. Her calm, her strategy, her refusal to quit, BROAD, live. Some species, watching from light years away, stared in silence. Others began to question their own doctrines. Then came the second message spoken in Earth's voice, spoken from Era's training logs. You gave me 2%. That's more than I need. And finally, the last line. Now tell me, what will you do with your 98%? Silence followed. Then panic. Several systems sent retreat orders. Others tried to block the message. Too late, the entire galaxy had already seen it, and they weren't laughing anymore. General Vecker looked at Era one last time. You never wanted war, did you? No, she said, but I also never ran. The Sentinel stepped forward. It's done. The galaxy knows. Now the archive returns to sleep. Until the next flare is lit. Era looked at him. And me. You stay. Why? He turned his faceplate slightly. Because your story isn't over. With that, the Sentinel vanished into the ship. The fleet pulled away, silent as it came. But the message remained. Across every planet, every broadcast, every military base, a human cadet once laughed at, now burned into history. Not because she fought, but because she survived and made survival look terrifying. The Academy was quiet. Since the archive fleet left and the Sentinel vanished, the galaxy had stopped laughing. The simulation footage kept playing across hundreds of worlds, and Eru, just a human cadet, became the subject of debates, fears, and whispers. She sat alone in a small training room. No guards, no cameras, just her and a silent door. Why here? She muttered. The door clicked open. Vorn stepped in with a datapad and 2 cups of nutrient broth. Still not used to people staring. Staring is fine, she said. It's the silence that's louder now. He handed her the cup. They don't know what to do with you, because I didn't die. No, he said, because you changed something and didn't even try to take credit for it. She looked up. It wasn't about credit, it was survival. He sat across from her. And yet, the High Council declared you a universal variable. She blinked. What does that even mean? It means, Vorn said carefully, you're now in every political strategy, every war game, every species' next 10-year plan. They don't know what you're going to do, and that makes you dangerous. She sighed. I just wanted to be a soldier. You became a symbol. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Then the wall on the left slid open, not like a normal door. This wall didn't look like part of the room. Behind it, a dark hallway stretched down, silent, cold. That wasn't in the blueprint, Vorn said. Era stood slowly. I think I'm supposed to go in. He stood too. Then I'm going with you. She shook her head. No, if this is another test, I need to face it alone. You're not a cadet anymore, he reminded her. They gave you the Earth Codex seal. You outrank most of them now. Then let me use that rank to ask you to trust me. Vorn hesitated, then nodded. Aira walked into the dark hallway. As she passed, the wall closed behind her. Her footsteps echoed. No lights came on. Only a soft green glow from the floor guided her. After several minutes, the hallway opened into a round chamber with one chair in the center. A screen lit up on the far wall. No faces, no council, just a voice. Cadet Era. I'm not a cadet. Anymore we decide what you are, the voice replied. And you've been chosen. For what? She asked to enter the room without a name. Her heart beat faster. That's a myth. No, it is where final questions are answered. The screen blinked. Then a second voice joined one Era had only heard once before. It was the Sentinel. She is ready. The wall behind the chair shifted. A second door opened. No guards, no alarms. Just a soft wind. Like it was breathing. Era walked through it. She expected weapons, machines, maybe some trial. But what she found was worse. It was a mirror room. Thousands of floating glass panels. Each showed different versions of herself, winning, failing, dying, surviving. Some were old. Some were from the simulation. Others were things that never happened. "What is this?" she whispered. The Sentinel's voice echoed. "These are the paths you never walked. The choices you didn't make, the probabilities you unlocked." Her throat felt dry. "Why show me this?" "To ask you one question. What did you survive, or did you evolve?" The mirrors shifted. One showed her walking away from the academy. Another showed her on a throne. Another showed her breaking down, crying alone. She stepped closer to the glass. One version of her was smiling. Another was covered in blood. Another held a child, and only one stood still, staring back at her. No motion, no emotion. The Sentinel spoke again. "You are not being tested anymore. You are being chosen. The archive can protect humanity, but it cannot lead it. That decision must be made by someone who understands pain and chooses peace." Era whispered. "Me, you survived the 2%, and you made the 98% fear it. That means you are the singularity, the turning point." A soft beep echoed through the chamber. A small pedestal rose from the floor. On it, a strange black key floated above a silver plate. "What is this?" she asked. "The master override. For what?" "For the galaxy," the voice said. Era stepped forward, staring at the key. Her fingers hovered above it. "Wait," she said. "This can't be real. I'm just one person." The Sentinel answered, "Every great shift began with one." She turned slowly. "What happens if I take it? You gain access to every archive system, every hidden file, every locked weapon, every secret Earth wasn't ready for. And if I don't, then someone else will, eventually." Her heart pounded. This wasn't a test of strength. It was a test of weight. Could she carry what came next? She looked again at the mirror at all those versions of herself. Then, she reached out and took the key. The mirrors shattered. All of them, but no glass hit her. It just disappeared into light. The Sentinel spoke once more. "It is done. Earth's future no longer hides in shadows. It walks forward." With her, Era felt her body shift, nothing painful, but something deep. Like part of her had unlocked the door opened behind her. This time, Vorn was standing there. "What happened?" he asked. She held up the key. "I made a choice." He nodded slowly. "And what now?" Era looked out the long corridor. "Now we see if the galaxy is ready to be led by someone they tried to bury." Era stood at the edge of the command bridge. Outside, the stars shone cold and distant, but inside, the air was thick with tension. Vorn joined her. "You took the key. What does it unlock?" Era smiled faintly. "Everything, the archives. Secrets, their weapons, their knowledge." Vorn's eyes widened. "That's dangerous," she nodded. "Yes, but also necessary." Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. "Alert! Unauthorized signal detected," a voice announced. Era turned sharply. "Where from?" "Coordinates unknown. Signal is encrypted, but it matches no known frequency." The bridge crew scrambled. Vorn looked at her. "You think it's connected to the key?" "Possibly," Era said. "Or it could be a trap." The Sentinel's voice echoed softly from the ship's AI. "Signal, origin, Earth." The bridge fell silent. "Earth?" Vorn asked. "Yes," Era said. "I thought Earth was silent." Vorn frowned. "Maybe someone is trying to reach you." Suddenly, the screen flickered. A face appeared. It was an old man with sharp eyes and a calm voice. "Cadet Era," he said. "If you can hear this, then the archive's time has come." Era's heart raced. "Who are you?" "I am Dr. Lyser. I helped create the Earth Codex, the survival challenge, the key you hold." "Why now?" "Because the galaxy is changing. Earth is ready, but many still fear what humans can become." Era clenched her fists. "They feared us from the start." Dr. Lyser nodded. "That is true, but they do not see the full picture. The archive was built to protect humanity's future, even from itself." "What future?" "The one where humans rise as guardians, not conquerors." Era's eyes narrowed. How? By unlocking the final layer of the Codex. It is hidden on Earth, and only you can find it. Why me? Because you survived. The impossible, you are the key. The screen flickered and went dark. VORN turned to Era. This just got bigger. She nodded. We need to find this final layer before someone else does. Who else? A sudden alert interrupted. Enemy. Ships detected approaching Earth. Vorn's voice was sharp. They want to stop you, or take the key. Era looked at the stars outside. Then we fight. The bridge shook as the first missiles struck. The Sentinel's voice was calm, engaging defense systems. Era gripped the railing. We have to protect Earth, no matter the cost. Zorn's eyes were fierce. They gave you 2% to survive. Now show them what 98% means. The battle began. Ships darted in the void. Lasers cut through darkness. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers. Era's voice rose. Hold the line, protect the archive. The enemy ships faltered, but a shadow moved behind them, a larger fleet. Unknown ships with strange designs. They came prepared, said Era's heart pounded. We need a plan. Suddenly, the communication channels lit up. Cadet Era, a new voice said. This is Commander Kale of the United Earth Fleet. We've been watching. We want to help. Era's eyes widened. Why now? Because Earth knows what you represent. We won't let the galaxy destroy its own future. She nodded. Then let's end this. The combined fleets moved as one. The enemy pushed hard, but the humans held firm. Era led the defense with calm determination. Suddenly, a signal burst. Through the chaos, the hidden code from Earth, ships across the galaxy received it. It was a call for peace, a call for unity, and a warning. The galaxy was no longer a place for small fears. It was a place for the 98% who dared to survive. The battle had ended. Silence settled over the stars. Era stood on the bridge, looking out at the scattered wreckage of enemy ships. The combined fleets of Earth and the Archive had won, but the cost was heavy. Vorn came to her side. You did it. You turned the impossible into reality. Era shook her head. We did it, together. She held the black key tightly. It was more than just a symbol now, it was a responsibility. The communication panel beeped. Cadet Era, Dr. Lizer's voice came through again, calm and steady. You have passed the final trial. What now? Era asked. Now you lead? The bridge fell quiet. Lead, Vorn repeated, surprised. Era looked around. The galaxy is watching. They fear us, but they also hope. She took a deep breath. We can't be just survivors. We must be protectors. The Sentinel's voice joined them. The Earth Codex grants you full control of the archive. Era nodded. Then it's time to rebuild. Suddenly, a hologram appeared. It showed a map of the galaxy, blinking with light-safe zones, war zones, and uncharted areas. We will start here, Era said, pointing to a dark region where conflict still rules. Vorn smiled. The galaxy's shadows meet Earth's light. She turned to the crew. Prepare for the next mission. A young pilot stepped forward. Cadet, what do we call this new order? Era smiled. The dawn. The dawn of what? Vorn asked. Hope, strength, unity. The crew cheered. Softly, but Era's mind was heavy. She knew the real challenge had just begun. Back on Earth, people watched the broadcasts. For the first time in centuries, they saw a human who wasn't broken by fear. They saw a human who survived the 2% chance and who would change the galaxy forever.